Hotels and retail spots making preparations for future southbound drivers. And U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is optimistic China-U.S. tariff tensions can be de-escalated. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The southbound travel for Guangdong vehicle scheme will take effect as soon as next month, with eligible cars allowed to enter urban areas in Hong Kong. Some hotels and stores said they will offer parking facilities and discounts to attract customers and boost business. Samantha Lee tells us more.
Very soon, up to 100 Guangdong motorists will be able to drive and park freely in Hong Kong each day, with a maximum stay of 3 days. A hotel in Tsim Sha Tsui teamed up with some 400 shops in the district to roll out promotional packages to attract these potential customers. A hotel group spokesperson said all shops, hotels and restaurants under the group will provide discounts. He believed the scheme would attract more families with high purchasing power. There are a total of 250 car park spaces in the group's hotels and malls. Charging adapters will be available for the use by Guangdong's electric vehicles. Before crossing into the city, Guangdong motorists can obtain a Hong Kong driving license by converting their mainland license. However, becoming familiar with Hong Kong's traffic rules may be another challenge for them. This mainland driver said he was quite worried that Hong Kong adopts the left-hand traffic rule, while mainland drivers are more familiar with the right-hand side. However, he said he was confident that he could get used to the road rules in Hong Kong. Ben Chen, a member of the Legislative Council's transport panel, said mainland drivers should observe and pay attention to local regulations at all times. Meanwhile, the Transport Department said it will step up efforts in publicity work, such as channeling information on road and driving instructions during the application process. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The government held a seminar titled Executive Legislative Collaboration for Good Governance and Better Future Tomorrow this morning. Chief Executive John Lee said the improved electoral system aligns with the actual situation of Hong Kong and is suitable for the city. He noted that the effective cooperation between the executive branch and the legislature is crucial for high-efficiency governance. Samantha Lee again.
The seminar took place at the government headquarters, where senior officials, executive council members, and lawmakers were in attendance. In his keynote speech, Chief Executive John Lee noted that the successful implementation of the improved electoral system fostered positive interaction between the executive branch and the legislature. He noted that the operation of the Legislative Council was paralyzed by opposition forces and radicals before the electoral overhaul. He added that the improved electoral system faithfully and resolutely implement one country, two systems, under which the people of Hong Kong administer Hong Kong, with a high degree of autonomy. As the current legislature finishes its term soon, the city leader called on more patriots to sign up for the electoral race. He said he hopes to work with the incoming lawmakers based on the principles of patriots governing Hong Kong. Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan and outgoing LegCo President Andrew Leung also gave speeches. Leung said it was healthy and normal that some lawmakers will not seek re-election, noting that more than 30% of councillors on average did not seek re-election in the past. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Donald Trump has declared the United States is in a trade war with China, pinning the start to Beijing's critical mineral controls. Meanwhile, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, who had been an outspoken critic of those curbs, has suggested a longer-term tariff truce with China if it halts plans to restrict rare earth exports. Danny Zhou reports.
When asked by reporters if the U.S. and China will enter a trade war if they fail to reach an agreement, U.S. President Donald Trump replied, "We are in one now."
Well, you're in one now. Look, we have 100% tariff. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be exposed as being a nothing.
Prior to this, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jameson Greer held a press conference on Sino-US trade. The two nations have agreed to several 90-day trade truces this year, with the latest deadline looming next month. Bessent has floated the possibility of extending a pause of steep US tariffs for longer than 3 months if China is willing to put off its plan to restrict rare earth exports.
Is it possible that we could go to a longer roll in return for a delay? Perhaps, but all that's going to be negotiated in the coming weeks.
He further noted Washington would rather avoid taking substantial action against Beijing's provocative moves, even though it could, adding that the two sides remained in communication over the past few days.
I believe China is open to discussion, and I am optimistic that this can be de-escalated.
Bessent said Trump was still expecting to meet with President Xi Jinping in South Korea this month.
To be clear, this is not just about the United States.
Greer said China hasn't implemented its revised regulatory system for the critical minerals and could back away. So could the U.S. on its 100% tariffs on Chinese goods. He said he expects they will be able to be back to where they were a week ago. In Beijing, a foreign ministry spokesman today stressed China's export controls on rare earths are consistent with common international practice, rebuking Bessent's criticism of the policy a day earlier. He said the measures are aimed at better safeguarding world peace and regional stability and fulfilling international obligations such as non-proliferation. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
President Donald Trump said that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally assured him that his country would stop buying Russian oil. The change, which has not been confirmed by the Indian government, would boost Trump's efforts to pressure Russian President Vladimir Putin to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. Trump says that countries such as India could weaken Moscow's position if they stopped buying Russian oil, the profits of which are used to fund the war with Ukraine. Reuters reports that some Indian refiners are already preparing to cut Russian oil supplies.
And he's assured me there will be no oil purchased from Russia. There will be no oil. He's not buying his oil from Russia. It started. You can't do it immediately. It's a little bit of a process. But the process is going to be over with soon. And all we want from President Putin is stop this. Stop killing Ukrainians and stop killing Russians, because he's killing a lot of Russians. Who would think I created peace in the Middle East and can't get the two guys to settle? But I think we'll get them. But if India doesn't buy oil, it makes it much easier. And they're not going to buy. They assured me they will. Within a short period of time, they will not be buying oil from Russia. And they'll go back to Russia after the war's over.
A U.S. federal judge in California ordered President Donald Trump's administration to stop mass layoffs of federal workers during the ongoing government shutdown. Judge Susan Ilston cited a series of public statements by Trump and other officials that she says showed explicit political motivations for the layoffs, such as Trump saying that cuts would target Democrat agencies. The judge said, "You can't do that in a nation of laws. And we have laws here, and the things that are being articulated here are not within the law." A renewed bid to pass a spending bill by the U.S. Senate failed again on Wednesday. And still ahead, Israel begins burying its dead hostages. Improved facilities at Pafulam Public Riding School. And how Xi'an attracts visitors through its heritage sites. Welcome back. Israel received the remains of 2 more hostages hours after it said that one of the bodies previously turned over was not that of a hostage. U.S. President Donald Trump said in a CNN interview that Israel could resume military operations in Gaza if Hamas doesn't uphold its part of the deal. U.S. officials, though, say Hamas has not violated the agreement. Meanwhile, Israel has returned the bodies of 90 Palestinians. Nasri Karim with more.
A convoy carries 2 more Israeli bodies released by Hamas. They arrive at a forensic facility in Tel Aviv where DNA testing will determine if they match those of the hostages. In Gaza, where dozens of Palestinian bodies are being returned and DNA testing equipment is banned, It's more of a free-for-all. Rasmia Kudir went from hospital to hospital in Khan Yunis looking for the body of her son, Rasmi Abdullah Kadir. 80 bodies arrived in Al-Najjar hospital and I haven't found my son, she said. About 50 bodies arrived at Nasser hospital but I didn't find him. Every time they tell me that bodies will arrive, I come back to look for him. The return of deceased detainees on both sides is part of a ceasefire deal. Gaza Health Ministry official Sameh Hamad said the bodies bear signs of abuse. What we saw with our own eyes, their hands and feet are cuffed and their eyes are blindfolded. We also saw clear signs and marks of torture and execution. Israel is pressing Hamas to return the remaining 19 dead hostages. The Palestinian group has at least 10 bodies, one of whom Israel says is not that of a hostage. Hamas says it needs heavy equipment to clear rubble in areas where the dead hostages may be, a factor acknowledged by US President Donald Trump.
Sir, what is your understanding of the pace of returning the deceased hostages? Are you pleased?
Well, they're looking for them, absolutely. They're looking. So we have the living hostages all back. They returned some more today. It's a gruesome process. I almost hate to talk about it. But they're digging. They're actually digging. There are areas where they're digging and they're finding a lot of bodies. Then they have to separate the bodies. You wouldn't believe this. And some of those bodies have been in there a long time. And some of them are under rubble. They have to remove rubble.
Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, hundreds of people attended the funeral of Captain Daniel Peretz, whose body was handed over by Hamas. He was kidnapped from his army base in southern Israel on October 7, 2023, during the Hamas-led attack. Recently released hostage Matan Angrest, who was a member of Peretz's team, and Israeli President Isaac Herzog spoke at the funeral. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Pro-Palestinian rallies raged on in Europe, even though the Gaza ceasefire is already in effect. Police made at least 15 arrests on Barcelona streets in clashes during demonstrations that continued into the night. The rally was part of a general strike to denounce Israel's military action in the enclave, a stance supported by the Spanish government's open criticism. Protesters set trash bins ablaze and smashed the windows of banks and fast food chains. Thousands marched through the city of Barcelona and breached the Israeli consulate. Some reportedly moved containers to impede the movement of police vehicles and threw rocks, to which officers responded with pepper spray and batons. Indonesia's defense minister has confirmed that the country will buy at least 42 Chinese-made Chengdu J-10C fighter jets. Shafri Shamsuddin said the purchase is part of the plan to modernize its military. The Indonesian Air Force currently has fighter jets from countries including the US, Russia, and Britain. Analysts say after decades of relying mainly on Western suppliers, a major arms purchase from Beijing could be seen as a shift in Indonesia's security orientation. However, there is no timeline on when the Chinese jets will be delivered. In a joint operation between Hong Kong and mainland police, authorities have busted a cross-border syndicate that allegedly laundered more than $270 million through local digital banks. The group allegedly recruited mainland residents to open digital bank accounts in Hong Kong and record selfie videos, which were later used to bypass facial recognition systems. 3 core members were arrested, including a 32-year-old man who was apprehended in Hong Kong. 2 other suspects were detained in Xinjiang. Investigators say 184 accounts were exploited, including proceeds from more than 300 fraud cases. The case has prompted the Monetary Authority to issue warnings to banks and tighten verification procedures. With a $370 million funding from the Hong Kong Jockey Club, the Pak Fu Lam Public Riding School will be reopened to the public next month. That's after 3 years of redevelopment efforts. Here's a sneak peek. The facelift at the Pak Fu Lam Public Riding School includes the addition of this new indoor arena designed with skylights and ventilation fans to ensure good airflow. Another upgrade, a water control system beneath the surface which can help regulate humidity. The rebuild allows year-round training where horses and riders can train safely, rain or shine. The riding school senior manager says before the revamp, every time it rained, the riders were soaked and the ground became mushier. Now the training environment improved significantly. Stables 2 expanded, now housing 38 horses. The concrete flooring has been replaced with anti-slip rubber, reducing strain on the horses' joints and hooves. Wider corridors now allow more visitors during tours. After its opening next month, the school will add 10 new weekly sessions for public visits for just $5 per session. The school says the stable tours include educational elements such as horse care and management lessons, which were earlier offered only in Tumun. The rebuild also incorporates more accessibility designs such as new mounting platforms installed for disabled riders. The Jockey Club's public riding schools serve around 60,000 people a year. Riding schools in Tumun and Leiyumun are also set for future upgrades to make equestrian sports more accessible to the public. Commissioner of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Hong Kong, Cui Jianchun, led a delegation that included foreign consuls stationed in Hong Kong to visit Xinjiang. Summarizing the week-long trip, he encouraged young people in Hong Kong to visit Xinjiang and witness the region's development.
Seeing is believing.
Cui says seeing is believing and what you see is the reality, adding that the delegation saw a Xinjiang which is harmonious and united. Cui added we are strengthening the sense of community among the Chinese nation, and the same is true for Hong Kong. The delegation comprised over 50 people, including foreign consuls, representatives from foreign chambers of commerce and local businesses. Cui Jianchun expressed hope that Hong Kong's new Go Global Task Force can help Xinjiang enterprises expand their business overseas. The city of Xi'an in Shaanxi province is one of China's most prominent historic cities and once the capital of 13 dynasties. A Hong Kong Travel Industry Council delegation visited the city, noting how the SAR could learn from Xi'an in promoting in-depth tourism. Situated in north-central China, Xi'an in Shaanxi was the capital of 13 dynasties over the centuries. Since May last year, residents of Xi'an can travel to Hong Kong and Macau under the individual visit scheme. This week, Hong Kong's Travel Industry Council sent an 80-member delegation to Xi'an. Their first stop was the Xi'an City Wall, located in the heart of the city. Stretching 13.7 kilometers, it is one of the best-preserved ancient city walls in China and was listed among the first batch of national key cultural relics in 1961. At night, there are large-scale performances inspired by the Tang Dynasty's Kaiyuan ritual, an immersive experience blending dance, ceremonial reenactments, music, and lighting effects. The performance has been viewed by world leaders including Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron. Li Jiajie, marketing manager of Xi'an City Wall, says these performances span multiple areas along the wall with performers dressed in Tang Dynasty attire. Travel Industry Council Chairman Jason Wong says Hong Kong could draw lessons from Xi'an in developing its own cultural and in-depth tours. For instance, how to better showcase our own cultural heritage sites, offering in-depth travel experiences. Currently, there are 1 to 2 direct flights daily between Hong Kong and Xi'an. The council said it would next work toward boosting the number of direct flights to improve connectivity. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.